Thank you. Yeah, indeed. I also was working in the last years in the nuclear business of E.ON. As you know, unfortunately, or not unfortunately, we should not comment maybe on this one, but Germany decided to go out of nuclear power. So we have to switch off the nuclear power plants in Germany end of this year, and the very last units end of next year already. So this is, at least it's unfortunate for the climate, but it's a political decision and it's taken and it's clear in Germany. And to your question, I think when it comes to safety, engineers tend to think the same in different areas, but it's true that within nuclear power, it is a very strong focus on safety, which maybe is not as strong in all the other industries, I know at least, but in nuclear it's very strong. But the approaches are similar everywhere, how to prepare a technical system for safety. Yeah, let me talk a little bit about what can be our role in this energy transition in Romania in the next years. As you know, here in Romania, E.ON is not active in the production market, but we are a distribution company for gas and electricity on the one hand side and a supplier company on the other hand side. So that's our focus here, and it's going to stay like this for the next period for sure. So I think the environment we have here, all of you know, we have tremendous new decade starting now, a new decade which is a growing decade for energy markets because more and more customers are going to be connected to gas and electricity grids, but also because electricity is used for more and more new technologies, and in gas we have the hydrogen issue. So there's plenty of developments going on. And we have the European Union supporting all this now after the pandemic crisis even more with their plans. So new technologies are going to arrive, and I fear all the predictions we have made in the last years when it comes to how the technology will look like in 10 years has been not fully correct. But I think the goal where we have to go is absolutely clear. We have to reduce the carbon emissions, we have to reduce our environmental footprint, and that's what we all know. And some of the elements, of course, we know too, which is more and more renewables, which is more decentral production. For instance, in Germany in the year 1999, when I started, we had some 10,000 points only in the country where energy was fed into the electricity grid. And now we have some millions of points where electricity is fed in. And I think this already shows that there's a new challenge for distribution companies to cope with such developments. The task for us is that we enable our distribution systems for having far more new customers connected, like e-mobility, heat pumps, and so on and so forth, but also having far more energy producers in our grid. And this means that we absolutely need plenty of investment in order to be able to handle this and also to steer it. So sometimes we cannot store too much energy, or electric energy at least for the time being. We have to steer actively producers and consumers in order to have the system up and running. And in the past, this has been a problem of a few power plants and a national transmission grid, but in the future, it is the same issue arriving also in the distribution areas. And there we need technology, we need innovation, and we have to cope with this. We are talking here today about innovation on the same at the same time. However, I realized also that still investments in the real hardware in our grids are needed too. So we need wires for electricity, we need pipelines for gas, we need poles, and so on and so forth. And they are not yet absolutely in the shape where we need to have them. And given the two challenges, renewing the grid, the hardware, And applying new technologies means that we have to invest more into the distribution grids than it had been done so far. As you may know, I already have been in Romania in the years 2004 to 2008 in the electricity side at that time. Happily, we were able to already at that time to increase investments at a far higher level than it was taking place before the privatization. But also today, we have to increase investments far more. And that's why while we were investing something like almost 100 million euro per year in the last years, this year we are going to invest 140 million euro into our grids, and next year already 160. And I think in the next years we have to increase these amounts even more. So we have a huge challenge, a huge program, but we will do our job in this to be just hopefully the best distribution system operator in the country. We will strive for this, but at least in any case to be a very, very good distribution system operator to cope with these challenges. I think Romania has some advantages when it comes to climate. It has hydropower, it has nuclear power, it has plenty of potential for renewable power. And we have here the challenge to have also a transmission problem and a storage problem. So I think hydrogen comes into the whole setup too. As I said, in electricity, we do not really have many storage facilities. And even if all cars one day will be electric, their storage volume is very small in comparison to the total electric production in the country. So it's not really a mean of store for a longer time electricity. And that's why hydrogen, I think, is crucial. And okay, it's the start of a new technology, but it will play a role. And that's why I think that also gas distribution network will play a role. And E.ON's opinion is that gas distribution networks can really play a role in the H2 economy of the future, because it's a very cheap mean of distributing, of getting the power or hydrogen produced somewhere to other points where it is consumed and needed. Let's focus maybe a little bit once more on electricity. I think in the last years, in the 15 years E.ON is active in this market, or 16 years now, we managed to reduce the frequency of electricity supply interruptions by the factor of 6. So 6 times less frequent power interruptions. And if it takes place, reduced the duration by the factor of almost 10, 9 point something. So I think the investments already bring an effort. You see the result. But now, also, as I said, we need to have also some more innovative approaches, which means to apply more PV solutions. We now have invested in, together with our customers, we do it for our customers, usually 25 large PV production sites in our area. And we are automizing our transformers very much in order to be able to have, as I said, to have these fluctuating issues. But also in the maintenance, we have quite new tools. Just to give a flavor, we have virtual reality training. So colleagues take this virtual reality thing, and then they can train in a virtual substation to do the works. It's a new training method where we apply new technology. But also we apply image recognition in order to have an automated system to recognize if there is a part of our installation getting old and producing heat instead of just working in a very early stage. So I think we can increase even safety and efficiency in distribution grids by applying new technologies. And the same is for predictive maintenance. By combining all the experiences and the data we have in the grid, we are able to have a far more efficient maintenance in electricity. So this is just giving some flavors where I think that IT will play a very important role in the future too. And this, by the way, also would mean that we, in the regulatory regime, we have to recognize that IT will play a more important role in the future than it is recognized today. And in the same time, then it also means that we have to prepare more for cybersecurity, which is of utmost importance, I think, as we have seen already in the last month. And unfortunately, with some events in the United States with the gas pipeline and so on and so forth. So cybersecurity also is really of utmost importance to us, and it needs to be handled, I think, in the whole industry with a very decent approach in Romania. Yeah, so this is to give a flavor of where we are and what we are going to do. So we are increasing the investments both in hardware and in IT and intelligence. And I think that with this, we are able to do our share in this really interesting decade coming to us with all the European money around, which is a once-in-a-lifetime possibility for Romania now to really boost and improve infrastructure in the country. Even more, I have to say, Romania did a tremendous job in the last 15 years. Yeah, so I personally left in 2008 from Romania. I was coming back in spring of this year, and I can tell you there is so many progress around. Yeah, if you live here day by day, maybe it's not really seen, or not so aware. You're not so aware of as I'm now realizing it. Going by a part, at least, of a highway between Cluj and Târgu Mureș. I've seen the city centers really developing very much, and I told you about the improvements in gas and electricity grid. So let's continue with this, and we are here to do our share of the job. I think all of the players are needed. Consistent policies, consistent and regulatory regime, recognizing all these additional targets we have to cope with, and producers and us.